Yep. Hello, everybody. Started a little later than I wanted, but we are here. We are here. Let me see if I can get this out of the way there. Yeah, look at that. You even caught Blue sitting in his little blue cam spot. All right. Today was the first day of trial, the opening arguments in the Chase Merritt case. It was actually, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm a little bit nervous for the prosecutors, to be honest with you. Let me turn down this music. See, one of the other suspects that a lot of people thought was a suspect back in the day, 4 years ago, was Dan Cavanaugh. And there's a lot of crazy stuff about Dan Cavanaugh. And unfortunately, the defense pretty much picked up on all that stuff and is throwing it out there as a sort of a, like if you've been watching the Making of a Murderer 2, they have the Denny suspect. Well, that's who Dan Cavanaugh is. Wow, look at this, another viable suspect. I mean, why couldn't he have done it? And there's some weird, Dan Cavanaugh did some weird shit. All right, and we can get into that later. But they had the opening arguments, and it was really a travesty. The company who got the feed rights to everybody. First of all, they started off where you could hear the audio, and then about 5 minutes later, it just sounded like a garbled mess inside of a well, first there wasn't any audio. Then there was this garbled mess with two streams of audio that weren't synced. One matched his face, his lips, but it sounded like he was inside of a dishwasher. I mean, it was horrible, right? Then, let's see. Then they finally got the audio working, but it never really, every once in a while it was synced up to the mouth. But we missed about half of the opening arguments by the prosecutor. So then, of course, the audio is working perfectly when the defense came up to give their, opening arguments. I don't know if I said closing. If I did, I apologize. Yeah, it was nuts in there. So basically, the prosecutors went in and they talked about how the different checks, just like my video. Basically, the videos, if you watched last night, the videos I made years ago are almost exactly what they were saying about the checks being written. They even had the same time on all the different, the ping information that would have given him time to go there. Just all kinds of information in there. Let's see, what was one of the parts that, then they went over the different items found in the grave. And also, it was interesting, and part of the opening arguments was, I think it was even in the defense opening arguments, is what they said that Chase was in an interview and he said that Joseph McStay would normally leave his car parked out on the street. And it's interesting that he would know that, right? But at the same time, it also is exactly how I have it in my video that I made, because I assumed that the car wouldn't fit right next to the other one because you wouldn't be able to get in or out. So that's what I came up with. And then they did show the surveillance footage that you see of a car pulling out of the driveway, and how the muffler wasn't, let's see. So the Isuzu doesn't have a muffler on the side that you could see. but apparently Chase's truck does. But then they showed that maybe the lights were different, the heights didn't work on certain things. So all of a sudden now you have some questioning on whether or not that was Chase's truck there. Hey, look at that. It's Darrow showing up. Nice crater on the moon. I don't know what that means, but alright. Sure. Maybe am I in the crater? Yep. Yeah, and so this trial, I can already see sort of an easy path for reasonable doubt. That's what's sad. You know, the prosecution now is going to have to spend a lot of time trying to convince the jury that it isn't possible that Dan Cavanaugh did this. Because I guess apparently Dan Cavanaugh's ex-girlfriend came forward 3 weeks ago and claims, and even went to the FBI first, and said that Dan Cavanaugh had confessed to her just recently. Like, who the hell, why would he do that? The trial's coming up and then he tells somebody? See, something is off here, but you can see this. You can see this happening. So I'll show you some of this footage from earlier. Here we go. I don't know what that, oh, that right up here is actually, I had blue on the screen recording him earlier, so he's up there. But it was really bright. So that's Chase Merritt in there, looking really collegial. You know, look at him. Oh yes. Look at, he's running the show basically. You see that? Here, before I get to that, let me show you what we were dealing with early on here. I mean, it's just an absolute travesty. You have these people waiting for years and all these arguments to get the trial to be publicly seen. And then you've got these clowns. And the guy, when the prosecutors, or the defense came back and they were presenting the evidence they had on Dan Cavanaugh, the cameraman said, oh, he had to go. So they didn't even film that part. So it was up to some sort of sleuthy Twitter people to get their phones out and record the, you know, what was going on. It was just disgusting. I don't even think most of it's out there though. So we missed all, you know, like half of what was said there. I'm going to show you guys what it was like early on. Let's see. So right here.
Look at the facial expressions. They're
no, that was... I thought it was weird too because I picked up on it there. The trial here of Spacey, that was on there. It was like, God, it's weird to see him in a court, right? But this isn't the video I was going to show you.
More important than their words.
So I think it's the next one, maybe. Let's see. Listen to that. Wasn't that garbage? Really? That's what we got? That's it?
In two detectives from the San Diego Sheriff's Department to the residents.
Yeah. Thankfully, it appears that they did record it separately because later they played a better version during a break. But it's like, really? I mean, you had all this time and you come back with this?
On that same day.
Look at that.
Fractured as well. He was the most preserved of the bodies.
So they did get better
Here's
later.
a view of his lower body, consistent with rainy, muddy weather. It had been 3 years. Over 3 years.
That was blue earlier, by the way.
The autopsies
All the popping and
conducted
clicking
along with
and-
the excavation with the assistance of a forensic anthropologist by the name of Dr. Alexa Gray. She was out there collecting bones. Summer was a dyke.
So look at that.
Multiple blunt force impacts to the head. He had multiple skull fractures, each side in the back.
Gianni McStay.
See that?
These are his remains.
They got all those pieces from Gianni.
No clothing was found.
Several fragments.
I'm going back in time. Hold on.
The FBI today.
Semi-trucks are heading northbound towards Vegas on the 15th freeway. This area is depressed. Can't be seen from the freeway. You can see cars from there, but the cars can't see you. This area here on the left of the photograph.
They're showing where the grave was
the
right
dump.
now.
This mountain to the right will become important here in a little bit. On the other side of that mountain is a town called Oro Grande. And again, this is a view facing westbound. And these are the graves here in the middle of the photograph, or at least one of the graves. They began the painstaking process of going through the graves. They located several items, potential evidentiary value outside of the graves, including a towel that appeared to be torn, a piece of woven off-white cloth, the right cup of a black bra. And in this photograph, it doesn't look black. This is outside of the grave after 3 years. They divvied them up just for organization's sake into grave A and grave B. In grave A was an adult male, Joseph McStay Sr. Also, along with him was Gianni, the 4-year-old.
See, I think that's something we didn't know
Grave A
before.
had been disturbed by animal activity. Quite a bit of animal activity, and in fact, both of Joseph's lower bones, his lower leg bones, were outside of the grave, were located outside of the grave. There is a piece of material, and they attempt to go layer by layer as they do this, collecting anything or noting anything that they find. Here you can begin to see Joseph's ribs there in the center of the photograph, and to the upper right, in the upper right quadrant, is his head. As they dug further, they found that he was wrapped with a white electrical cord. He also had across his lower body a red, what appeared to be a tie-down strap, and he was encased in a woven type fabric. Here you can see the red tie-down strap and the cord. To the right is his ribs, his head area. Another view of the cord and the tie-down strap. To the left here by the compass would be where his lower legs are. You can tell they're no longer attached.
See, what, like,
Grave B was
the thing is, the cameraman should be filming the pictures on those screens over there, not the that keep showing the prosecutor. Who cares at that? We can hear what he's saying. We need to see the pictures that you're talking about. Okay, whoever they got for the cameraman should just get the hell out of there. Now watch, they'll say, oh, he had a family member, something, an emergency. Well, I mean, you got to have a backup too, all right? I don't mean to be, it's just, this is a national thing that's been, for years and years and years. You can't just say, I got to go, and then nobody's there to film. Okay, but you got to film the screens. You got to, and that was before that, anyways. I mean, it's been 4 years. Okay.
Summer McStay and her baby, Joe Jr. It was not as disturbed as grave A, that being grave B. It did have a piece of shaggy type material. Fractures for Joseph Jr.
Yeah, they showed images of Joseph's head. I mean, you could see right where that sledgehammer hit his head. I mean, just massive. And so the thing is, it does hurt the prosecution because, like everybody knows, when you get blood from your head, is just you bleed profusely, right? So you're looking at all 4 people were just smashed in the head with a sledgehammer over and over again. And yet, when the police originally got there, they didn't find anything. No blood spatter. Now, I don't know if they found some later. I guess we don't know that, but the defenses has already brought that part up. You know, how there'd be cast off, how there would be just blood spatter everywhere. And it's true. Now, what you could do is, if you put like a bag, or let's say a burlap bag even, over somebody's head and then smashed them with it, it probably would really negate dramatically any cast off. Something like that. Maybe even a pillowcase, for example. Yeah, well, I guaranteed I could do a better job than they're doing with the camera. I mean, that's embarrassing. Later on, it looked like they did a little bit better. Like somebody else took over. Well, actually, I think it was just the Twitter. You know, people with their cell phones. It's crazy.
Again, entombed in this woven type material. He was the most preserved of the bodies. Here's a view of his lower body. You'll see his lower legs.
This is Joseph's leg here.
Outside of the grave. Behind his head was this extension cord.
Oh, that's right.
That was
You're not
knotted.
showing.
Joseph McStay had a, which you can see here in the middle of the photograph. You can also see to the left the red tie-down strap and the electrical cord. On the back of his head was a clear impact site for blunt force trauma on the back. Right of his
Yay,
head.
you finally zoomed in. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that right there, though. Right on the back of his head. I mean, you can see. Let me show you what we're talking about here. So it was something like the, you know, one of these types of things. All right, that's what they were hit with. Okay, not a hammer, but one of these. All right. So if you take a look at that, how it's rounded like that, look at this. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. Boom, right there. And they found one of those in the grave, actually. So look at that, just smoked in the back of the head with that, and then he was hit on the side too, I think.
Front as well as the ribs and the so here's a view of the left side of his head.
So I guess that's a smash, and that's
well as his,
a bone.
tibia.
Now in this case, it would have been hit from the front. Like he probably, it almost seems to me like Joseph was alive, almost like he was strapped in a chair at some point, and then he was just sort of torturing him a little bit, right? And look at that. He looks like in this case, the hammer was used to hit him in front of the shin, and then it broke the back part as the bone bent from the force from that blow. Now I think it's like a 3 or 5 pound sledgehammer. It's just a small one.
The shin bone on the lower left leg had been fractured as well, likely from a strike, consistent with a strike from the front, and the bone breaks towards the back. All 4 members of the McStay family were killed by blunt force trauma to the head. So, San Bernardino County Sheriff's took over the investigation because the bodies were located in San Bernardino.
Every once in a while, a video popped up on my screen.
They began work. Essentially, they formed a team made up of individuals from another homicide team, and they were placed on this case for $100. Not a handwritten check for $2,500.
See, all this stuff he's talking about
At
next
Union Bank.
is the same stuff that are in those 2 videos that I made. One part was weird, is I guess Joseph wrote him a check for 100 prior, or actually I can't remember how that scenario went. Maybe Gina or Ada can tell me about. There was $100 that he mentioned in there.
Deposit here, SA, might mean Saudi Arabia. I should back up. They had a project they were going to build a fountain in Saudi Arabia. All lowercase on the Charles Merritt.
Yeah, so see, that Charles Merritt account was created later, and he had written himself checks prior to the 4th. And so my theory is that is actually what led to the confrontation on the 4th, was that and I think they did mention that their accountant was like, whoa, this is weird, you can't do this stuff. And they probably, maybe that was even after, I think that was after they went missing, was when the accountant said something. But I would imagine that Joseph looked at the account and saw that Chase Merritt had written himself some checks. And then he had a meeting with him. And Chase called him, like, what was it, 13 times in like 9 minutes? I mean, just a whole bunch of times. I don't have that exactly. Maybe Ada can remember the specific minutes. Maybe it was like 3 minutes. I don't know. But he just kept calling over and over and over and over again. And then they met up for lunch, apparently, at Chick-fil-A. I mean, I'd actually like to verify that happened, to be honest with you. So apparently they had lunch. Yeah, he created an entire fake account, and then he signed the checks, Joseph McStay. So he made it look like Joseph was writing them, and he backdated all of them to the 4th. And why would he do that? The ones that he wrote on the 4th and the 5th, they were dated the 4th. So the ones he wrote on the 5th, he literally wrote them to the 4th, almost like he was subconsciously saying, wow, yeah, he's dead, so I got to make sure it's the same day that he's dead. Because why else would you do that? Why not make it, why not do it at the 5th then? Why not backdate it, make it the same day that you're writing it? Oh, he wrote it the 5th if you think he's still alive. But you knew he wasn't ever going to show up again. And you knew that they would find out that he disappeared on the 4th, so you wanted to make sure that you put in the 4th as the last date so that it didn't, so that it works. Because if you said the 5th, wow. I mean, you should have, because now your defense seems like you're trying to make it seem like it could have been on the 5th, so you should have done that, but you didn't. So I don't know what the defense is going to claim, but did Joseph drive all the way over to Chase's house and help him out with writing these checks? Not sure how they're going to pull that off. Yeah, let me get the defense. I was recording part of this as I was going.
Outside that suite at the top of the stairs that we showed earlier in the diagram. Oop, hold on. And we also have the garage. The garage is very cluttered. They're just moving into the house, as you will learn from the testimony. They don't have a lot of their things out of storage pods, but they did bring in things that they can live from. A lot of the stuff that they were bringing in, they were storing in the garage. There's little or no movement around except for trying to squeeze around things to get things that you want. Those are the different angles in there. Clearly, if anybody's going to walk through there with
so this guy's a defense attorney.
Corpse that would leave some kind of blood.
I mean, he made some good points, right? Because they found no blood or anything.
One of the arguments that may try and be presented is, well, then they threw cloth or plastic or something like that on the floor. That's why it's dirty, because they're painting. So when these people were killed, it all fell on that, on the drop cloth. Well, the problem is they weren't keeping the carpet or the tile downstairs because they had already bought all the flooring that was in the front of the room. They were going to rip it all out, put that in. Why would you put a drop cloth down on anything you're going to rip out? Trip over it and everything else. So
yeah.
everything
so he brings up stuff like that that's like, yeah, why would you do that?
when they talked to the neighbors in the area, nobody heard screaming, no one heard any noise. This is an overview of the neighborhood. These houses are right on top of each other.
And the thing is, that their defense attorney was a prosecutor for a long time. Okay, so now you've got a guy in here that knows all the tricks of the other side. And he's going to be able to, I think this is going to be an absolute battle. And, I mean, I can already see a sort of an easy path for reasonable doubt. Now, that's just because we haven't heard anything the prosecutors say. They might be able to just absolutely destroy everything, but over the years, they haven't sounded that confident and have done things that haven't been that confident. So that makes me a little bit nervous. Hey, Jim, nothing.
And this right here is the canyon wall on the right side. It echoes. You hear everything that everybody's doing in the neighborhood. And not one witness, and they talked to every single one that lived
That's
there.
weird. I said that same thing. It's weird that nobody heard him screaming, yelling.
What that is going to show is that the murders did not happen in that house. That day. Didn't happen.
Yeah. But yet, Chase is over at the house writing checks to himself at 7:30ish, or maybe like close to 7.
What actually shows from the evidence is that the family was probably alive until the morning of the 5th. Because everything that was out was recovered. Coffee was made. Coffee mug was down.
The eggs were on the counter. Yeah. See, that's interesting, right? See, what he's doing is he's taking the known information. Like everyone else thought, okay, Summer came home, left. There was stuff on the counters when everything got interrupted. But now he's turning it around. Hey, the coffee was out, the eggs. So now we're talking about breakfast, right? Which isn't really ludicrous, right?
Little fruit for them to nibble on. This is stuff you give them in the morning. The dogs were in the backyard. You will hear some of.
See, I'm going to try to view this trial. You know, I have my, opinion. You've seen my videos, but I'm going to view it as if I'm a juror, just somebody who hasn't seen this information from the first time. So you might not like everything that I'm going to say, but I'm going to listen to it and then try to weigh the argument. Who won that point? Okay.
Hey, Gray.
Oh yeah. Hey, what's up?
Hey, this is Gina.
Oh hey.
So I'm just sitting here thinking, I literally just made eggs for my daughter tonight. She's 4,
Okay.
and she wanted eggs for dinner.
Do you hear that, everybody? Gina made eggs for her daughter tonight. Therefore, that's what all people do, and it's really common. That was a joke.
It's not necessarily breakfast. And his little comment
Most
about
of the time
fruit.
it is. Yeah.
I mean, you could have fruit any time of the day. He's painting this picture.
Right. He's painting
doing
a picture.
a good job of it, but
Yeah, he's painting a picture to, that it makes sense. It actually, to most people, what he's saying makes more sense than coffee grounds out and eggs sitting on a counter in the evening. Okay, I think it makes more sense to just sort of the average person, because usually you're making eggs for breakfast, right? Sure, you can make them later, but I would say 25% of the time you take eggs out in the evening. Not even that. I'd say 10, and then morning time's normally when you take out eggs. Now, maybe not.
Did they ever
for you.
mention that there's some missing from the carton?
No. See, all that stuff they might be able to use later. You see, like the prosecution can come back and say, well, what he didn't tell you is that there were no eggs missing. But still, he could say, well, they were brought out, and perhaps that's when the attack happened. Is right when the eggs were taken out of the refrigerator. You see, so they hadn't had time to make anything yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it could go on and on forever.
Yeah. No, eggs are not anytime food. I mean, yes, we do eat them all the time. You eat hard-boiled eggs, all that kind of shit. But in general, eggs are what people eat in the morning. Okay,
So what about the popcorn? You do not eat popcorn
right.
in the
And
morning.
see, and that's a counter because notice how they left out the popcorn, right? This prosecutor, this ex-prosecutor defense guy here, he's been touting the whole time. Oh well, look how the prosecution left out this, and look how they left out that to try to paint their story. Well, hey, you just didn't talk about the popcorn that was in the bowls that the kids were eating, right? It's not like you have eggs and popcorn. Can we all admit that popcorn isn't for breakfast?
Thank you. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. I'm just trying to say, when you're basing things. So when he walked in there, he's painting the story that they obviously lived till the 5th because there's eggs on the counter and there's coffee grounds, and that's usually sort of a morning thing. Percentage-wise, I'd say 75 to 80% of the time that you make. People drink coffee all day, but that you almost always make it first thing in the morning. And then most people, when they make eggs, it's early in the morning. Now, a lot of times you make hard-boiled eggs, you might eat them later, that kind of thing. But they're definitely associated with breakfast, right? Can we just say that? So now the popcorn isn't associated with breakfast. So there you go. And he left that out on purpose. Yeah. Are you still there? I can't tell.
Yeah, still here.
Yeah, I know. So I could tell that you're like, no, I just want it to all be. See, I don't want to do this like the Arias case where everybody thinks everything that the prosecution says is the greatest thing they've ever heard, and then every single thing that the defense attorney says is the shittiest thing they've ever heard, and they all should be put in jail and beaten up and all this kind of crap. I just want to listen to what they're all saying and then kind of think about how the jury is hearing it, right? So they hear that and they go, yeah, that's right, eggs. Wow, yeah, what's going on? And there's no blood anywhere in the house.
It was brilliant. A brilliant move on his part.
Yeah, and it's also, where's all the blood in the house? All those multiple bashings with a hammer. This is something I've heard for years. People, they'll say that on my videos. Well, where'd all the blood spatter go? And I'd say, well, he probably covered it up. He had 8 days to paint over it and clean things up. And then they really didn't test it for, like, how long was it really before somebody came in and did a real examination? Like a month, Or was it like 4 years later? I mean, it doesn't seem like the San Bernardino police did anything, So, yeah. So that's the thing. Like, Ada's saying 4 years. And that's probably right, because I think the San Bernardino Police Department didn't do shit. They just kind of went in there and said, yep, doesn't look like anything here. So this guy is playing on the fact that they didn't see anything noticeable when they walked in. And I mean, it is pretty amazing to be able to bash 4 people in the head with a hammer like that and not have any sort of, misting or cast off, blood spatter that was seen at the time. Although, again, 8 days, you're walking around. If you could have isolated it too, for example, to a bathroom or even, God, I mean, I would love to have just been even though it was morbid, a fly on the wall to see exactly what happened. Because it is kind of confusing. Yeah, confusing. A little bit. I mean, they kept pointing out other parts of the house, which obviously there's a lot of items, junk everywhere, with no blood spatter on it. But haven't we talked before about this happening possibly in the bathroom? Yeah. Or more of a contained area that not the entire house we're looking at. But I wonder, like, how would he get Joseph up in the bathroom? And then, I always I can picture the 2 kids in summer. Maybe Joseph, Chase shows up at the house, and Joseph says, I'll take care of this, okay? And then she goes, I'm just going to give the kids a bath or something. And then goes upstairs. And then he does something to Joseph down there, because it's hard to picture unless he put a gun on them and forced them up into the bathroom. it does make you wonder if there's a second person that he had sometimes. But it just, I could see him doing it alone because he's really strong, even though he's older, you know.
Yeah, well, the prosecution even addressed that and said, we don't know. There could have been a second person. That they're not planning to address that.
Yeah, and see, that thing is you got to admit, like, some of the stuff the prosecution was saying was a little bit weaker sounding than this guy. They were saying, we don't really know how it happened. You know? So basically all their evidence is going to be probably really strong circumstantial evidence over time that will be, once it's all put together, you say, how could it not be him? Right? But if they don't do that and they leave gaping holes, then this guy right here is going to just drive a truck right through it. I can just tell by the way he is. He's not going to, and that'll just be shit. Because you don't get a second bite at it. Now, if it's a hung jury, you can do it again. But I don't know.
Well, as the trial went on today, I mean, that might be the case in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously talking way too soon. I mean, tomorrow we might see some just stuff that's like, whoa, absolutely shreds this guy.
I'm ready to completely overreact now.
Yeah. It's like there's once the prosecution throws out some good stuff, it's going to be yee, right? Yeah. Of course. I guess not. Did you just disappear right off the face of the earth, Gina?
No, I'm still here.
I'm just not getting you excited. Okay. Like I try to be like, yeah, come on, yeah. I'm just trying to tell you how I felt today. You know.
I understand. I think you and I thought a little differently about things, but that's normal for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seemed like you were agreeing with some of the stuff, like you were, you know, in the chat we were having.
Oh no, absolutely. I just feel less confident about the defense, I think, than what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying all the stuff that they brought up today. If they keep having I got to tell you this: if the prosecution has to spend a lot of time on Dan Cavanaugh, then the defense they're going to easily put the doubt in there, because then the jury will be like, wow, look at them, they're really having to work hard to even try to clear Dan Cavanaugh, you know. Yeah. Now if you can say, well, his cell phone pinged in Hawaii, here's the, like, because the defense even said that he has no boarding pass or anything, he just has the flight schedule. Like, here's when I was supposed to take off, and here's when I'm supposed to land, but no boarding pass information.
I've been asking that question for years, honestly. You know, what proof did they have that he was in Hawaii?
Yeah.
And I don't know if Patrick has even ever given an answer. You know, that was probably around the time he broke off with the sheriff's department anyhow, but...
All right. Can you guys hear Gina well? And by the way, this is Gina Watson, who you might actually recognize her voice. She's in the Nanette Watson. What's the last name? Cartel or something like that? That case, too. Which is, I think we're going to have another roundtable sometime pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I believe next week.
Yeah, all right. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if you want to be friends with Gina. You know what I'm saying? Because my God, what's going on over here? I'm just kidding. Hey, so how did you know Joseph? By the way, from your own mouth to them, how did you know Joseph?
Right. So I worked for Blue World, which is a waterfall manufacturer in Orlando, and he was my client. I worked in custom sales, so that from time to time he would have a bigger project, he would bring it to us because we had more of the facilities to handle the 100-foot tall water walls and things like that. So yeah, I met him at a trade show in Vegas, I want to say like 2007, and he's just a super nice guy. Got to know him on Facebook after that, or, you know, through phone calls once a month or something of that nature.
Yeah.
But the last time I talked to him actually was November, before they disappeared, and he had been dropping off in sales quite a bit because he was trying to use Chase to do more of the complicated projects. You know, he had plans to take over more of those quotes himself.
Yeah, and didn't Chase start skimming off the price? Like he would get inferior material and then build things, right? And then clients started to complain. Is that true? I can't remember if that.
Oh yeah, he had a very bad reputation. I knew of Chase, and that was what the conversation was about. Was you really want to go with this guy who makes things out of aluminum foil? You know, obviously joking, but not much above that.
Yeah.
He had a reputation for screwing people over, taking their money, not completing work.
Yeah.
And he just said that he could handle him. He's like, I know his past. He needs me. You know, he's been working hard for me, and I know how to control him. And I said, okay.
Wow.
What am I supposed to say?
Like that, like I know how to. So you already knew who he was and everything? Chase?
Yeah, we had. That's what's so chilling about it, is like that was literally our last conversation. Because I was basically asking him, like, why haven't you been coming to us? I wasn't making any money off of him anymore. You know, he wasn't bringing us quotes.
Oh, I see. So you guys used to build, but it would cost him a little bit more because you did high quality work. Instead, he would use Chase now because it was a lot cheaper, but in reality, he was putting out a garbage product at that point, right?
Well, he had a history of putting out garbage product, but Joseph was saying, you know, with my guidance, he's using the right materials now. He's getting things done. You know, like they're working together and it's working out.
Yeah, I mean, Joseph, like somebody just typed in, Phoebe Sweet said, Joseph sounds like such a nice man, giving evil people chances and benefit of the doubt. He was a nice person, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. But, you know, at the same time, he was a businessman, and
Yeah.
I believe he saw an opportunity to save money by using, you know,
Right.
that part makes sense. I guess I just didn't agree with him on his choice of contractor.
Yeah. Did you? I mean, was it because you had a contractor that you could have made money with, or just in general, like, wow, even if you don't make money off of us, I mean, we don't make money off of. Well, you know what I'm saying. Would you have wanted him to have a different contractor?
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
That was just what concerned me, was that particular person and his reputation in the industry.
Yeah. You guys might.
In that particular conversation, I just wanted to make sure he knew about the reputation, and he did verify that he knew.
Okay. And then how did you end up being part of, I mean, it seemed like you became kind of, I don't know, you were working with the father, and just, you were even on some of those shows, just because you happen to know him, or did you happen to have some inside information at the time, or is that stuff you can't talk about?
No, it's fine. I basically was just really, you know, into seeing what was online about the case, because I didn't want to believe that he would ever walk away and not tell his family anything. And I always felt something bad had happened, so I just kept looking online, following the boards. And I believe I met MacGyver online in a chat or something, and then he introduced me to Patrick. Patrick wanted me to talk to the sheriff's office just to talk about Chase, talk about, I think they were interested at the time in, you know, if they had gone to Mexico, could Joseph be making money, still making waterfalls somewhere else? And so they had me look online for different sites that had just popped up recently, you know, asked me to keep an eye out for such a new client and that type of thing.
So they were trying to keep it going, but the thing is a good salesperson. You could tell Joseph was good with people. It's hard to. People think, oh yeah, but the sales part's almost the hardest part to get those actual. Building the fountains. If you know how to do it, you just do it. But sales is tough. You know, you can't get out there and just say,
and
I
not
can
just
do it.
sales, but the
Yeah.
customer service side of things.
Right.
Joseph is very good at holding people's hand after they got the fountain, setting it up. If they had any problems, talking them through how to fix it. And he used to
excellent.
stay on our butts about that too. If it was a fountain that we created, then he'd be quite upset if we would let things go longer than a day.
Right. But yeah, because then it sort of just reflects back on your company. Like you want repeat business, especially if it's like a hotel or something, because they might need fountains in a bunch of places. You know?
Oh, and when you've got a fountain leaking all over the floor of a hotel or a hospital or something of that nature, spraying, different things, mold growing in it.
Thank you for the visuals.
Legionnaire's disease being spread, that kind of thing.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah.
It's more of a stressful industry than you thought.
Yeah, I wasn't really picturing that. Next time you guys buy a fountain, make sure not to get Legionnaire's disease. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's play that last part. That last guy. I actually recorded it off of Twitter. It was. You guys got to go check out her account, by the way. What was her name? Kathy. Oh, you know what Twitter account that was, Gina? Kathy Russo or something like that? I guess she disappeared. Hold on. Looks like it cut off that part, or Blue's face is on it. All right, hold on. Oh, Kathy Roussan. Okay, there you go. All right, so that's who did this. So make sure you follow her on Twitter. All right.
Online, where they had it, keep your books froze, not delete it, transfer it. Nothing was ever deleted.
Okay, so listen. After I get done with this, you guys all remind me. See, this was cut off. She just had quick thinking, and at some point during this opening argument, or maybe this is even part of the trial here, they're presenting counter evidence for a new, the Denny suspect of Dan Cavanaugh. But this Twitter, Kathy Roussan, she was smart enough to actually turn on her camera and film something, so at least it's out there. Okay, because the other cameraman, the pool cameraman, he just had to get going. Okay, so I'm going to turn up the audio here in a second. So remind me afterwards, because my voice will be 10 decibels higher, and that'll be pretty loud.
Transfer the data from QuickBooks Online, which is where they had it, to QuickBooks Pro. Not delete it, transfer it. Nothing was ever deleted. Ever.
Now, what's he trying? Wait, what's he saying?
And transfer the data from QuickBooks Online, which is where they had it, to QuickBooks Pro. Not delete it, transfer it.
Nah, that's bullshit.
Nothing was ever deleted. Ever. I mentioned that after the family disappeared, Kavanaugh,
Whoa.
PayPal account of 2,000 just spiked it on February 5th. The total theft, that initial lead.
That's actually when, at the time I recorded it, I was on Facebook. Sorry.
That was before Mike McStay had visited the Fallbrook house. That was even before the family had been reported missing. Dan Kavanaugh gave San Diego and San Bernardino an alibi. An alibi, ladies and gentlemen. And what he said was, I came to Hawaii during that period of time. That's what he told San Diego. So, what did San Diego do to check out whether he was actually in Hawaii or not?
Are you still here, Gina?
Yeah.
Okay, because people were saying goodnight to you. And I was like, oh, did
Oh.
she?
Maybe they want me to leave.
No, I think people just think as soon as they can't hear your voice, that means you're gone. Okay, I'll keep playing this. I thought this was pretty interesting.
What he provided then was, he provided to San Diego an online reservation. Anyone can do that. That's nothing. That is nothing. He gave them nothing else. And they didn't ask. They didn't even question it. They just accepted it. Dan Cavanaugh lied to Detective Duval. Because even Dan Cavanaugh's reservation showed him returning on February 14th, according to Hawaiian Airlines. There's no boarding pass money. I'm talking about just a reservation that says he's back February 14th.
Oh, Jesus.
He's interviewed by Troy Duval, detective in San Diego, on February 16th. And Dan Cavanaugh says, hello, I'm still in Hawaii. So he's lying to Troy Duval on February 16th. Why is he lying? Why is he creating a false alibi? Why is he doing that? Well, San Bernardino did check. And they came up with something a little bit different, which is even more head scratching. San Bernardino, according to their information, found out that he didn't leave for Hawaii until February 6th. That's in a sworn affidavit of San Bernardino County investigators. So where's this alibi going now? Where is Dan Cavanaugh?
Now, see, right now I'm really loud. Right now they're talking about the guy that we showed last night being interviewed at his front door. Remember?
But remember, blinders are on. No one's asking questions. Nobody.
Because a sledgehammer was a object of opportunity.
When we start to ask these questions, San Bernardino sends out Detective Smith sitting right there to talk with the landlord in Hawaii that Dan Cavanaugh said he was with. But Dan Cavanaugh said, oh, you can call Mr. Landlord. That's where I was staying in Hawaii in 2010, in February. And when Detective Smith interviewed that landlord said, Mr. Kavanaugh might have been here at some point, but he definitely wasn't here in 2010. He was here all of it in 2009. He has yet to produce a boarding pass. Actually, that he got on the plane and flew on it. And he's actually failed to produce a person that has seen him in Hawaii during that period. And lo and behold, October 2018, we get a call. When I say we, I'm talking about myself, Mr. View. We get a call from the prosecutors. And they tell us that meet us in San Diego on October 26th. We go down to San Diego. And they use by the name of Tracy Rico Benny.
Yeah, it's funny. It looks like there's two blues, but the blue up in the top is when I recorded the video.
Rico Benny gives a statement not only to us, but to the prosecutors as well, and the detectives, and our investigators. She claims to be kind of an ex-girlfriend type. She calls Dan Cavanaugh her best friend. So she comes forward and says that she has to, actually she came forward to the FBI first. They put her in touch with County.
So look, here's this girl named Tracy Rickobean. You can find her on I don't know, Instagram or one of these. I can't remember which site that was, but ex-girlfriend of Dan Cavanaugh. On October 26, 2018, just a couple months ago, 2.5 months, Rickobean comes forward and gives a statement to district attorney investigators and defense investigators. Dan Cavanaugh confessed to her that he murdered the McStay family. And she gave a detailed statement. But why would he do that, right? Like right before a trial, he's going to come forward and do that. I think this is just one of those people looking for attention. Okay? It's just really, it's, yeah. But
It's awfully
even
suspect timing for sure.
yeah. I was like, whoa, where'd that, I didn't know that was going to be you. Let's see. Yeah, definitely suspect timing. I mean, at the last minute, you get this person. It's almost like she almost seems like she's one of those people that writes a letter to a prisoner or something like that. Wants that kind of attention. Like, hey, everybody, look at me. I mean, what are the odds? Oh, wow. After all those years, he comes forward after this really meticulously well planned out crime. He says, well, hey, right before the trial, don't forget, I'm the one that did this, okay? Yeah, forget it.
Now, why would he write when the end is in sight?
Yeah, I mean, you just had to wait 3 more months, and then, well, I'm not sure. He just never could tell anybody. That's the truth. Because then if he did come forward later, they might then all of a sudden, if it was proven to be true, then Chase would be exonerated. Then they do a whole new trial on him.
What she says is Dan Cavanaugh confessed to her that he gave a detailed statement of how it occurred.
Yeah, he claims he went in there at knife point. Really?
He wanted revenge for the alienation of custody business.
Yeah. You almost wonder as if Chase in prison somehow just told somebody, listen, can you go out and find any ex at all? Just get him that doesn't like him. And then maybe offer, maybe there's some, I don't know. It just seems so crazy to do this. Because she could get perjury charges, I would imagine. Because she spoke to the FBI, I think.
He told her that he buried.
Hey, Gray.
Yeah.
Hey, Gina. This is Ada.
Oh.
How are you doing? So, I just wanted to mention that if she came back she called in October, the prosecution, had to know that this was coming, that the defense was going to do this. And they, I just think there's no, credibility to it, or they would have, they just wouldn't be having the trial right now.
Well, the prosecution, yeah, they obviously don't believe it, but the thing is I don't think a defense would come up and bring the stuff up if there were really good answers for all of the stuff that they're saying. Like if they said, well, no, here's, because the defense has all of the information that the prosecutors have. They should at this point. So the thing is, why would they just say, bring up this crap when it could immediately be disproven? See, that's one of the things that's a little weird. Like if tomorrow they say, well, no, look, here's hotel footage of Dan Cavanaugh in Hawaii on the 4th.
Maybe just to put enough doubt in their minds.
Well, there wouldn't be any at that point, because then it would be immediately. If I was a prosecutor, I'd say, listen, everybody, this information right here completely removes Dan Cavanaugh from the equation, and anything you hear about it after this is meaningless because we have absolute 100% proof that he was in Hawaii on the 4th. See,
But
then,
if
then it's
there
over.
was some kind of exculpatory, what's that word? Anything that
Exculpatory.
would eliminate Chase as the suspect, wouldn't they have done something about it? You know,
Well, yeah. I don't think I think that they don't believe it. I just find it. I think it'd be an incredible blunder by the defense to come up with this stuff that it immediately has an answer for. I think that they picked certain things about Dan Cavanaugh that the prosecution can't 100% debunk, and that's a good technique, right? So so they're going to pick the little things. Now they're not going to bring up the parts that there are answers for. I guarantee it. So I don't know. I mean, if they're that dumb, then they're just that dumb. But I can't imagine. That guy's a prosecutor, and he was for a long time the defense attorney, the bald-headed guy.
Okay.
I think, wasn't he? Didn't they say that at the beginning? Like he was.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to know all the little tricks and all the this and that. So he knows what the strategy would be. So he's probably saying, okay, we know for sure that Dan Cavanaugh cannot prove that he was in Hawaii. Because they even said that the landlord in Hawaii or something says he never saw him. I mean, so, they're bringing up all the stuff, and then they're going to bring up the email exchange. I guarantee it. We'll show that. I'll even show you guys this email exchange because it's not pretty. I mean, Dan Cavanaugh, I guarantee it, like Gina, me, and other people, Ada's probably the only one that never thought it wasn't anybody other than Chase Merritt. But, like, Dan Cavanaugh did some shady shit, okay? Literally, like, stuff that you just go, wow. Acting like he's a business owner. What are some of the things that you remember, Gina, that he did, if you're still there?
Well, the first thing that made me upset is when he called Blue World. I want to say it was like 3-4 months after they disappeared, and he wanted to continue the business and had a conversation with me about that. He claimed, like Susan was working with him and all of that.
Yeah.
And he wanted to use Joseph's credit card that we had on file to purchase some stuff.
Yeah.
And, I said, I can't do that. You have to bring your own credit card to the table. I know that Joseph's missing. I'm not just going to use his credit card. Well, he sent me the information in an email or whatever the case. I got an email from him a few minutes later, and he signed it as he was CEO of Earth Inspired Products.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And then even early on, he was, he said he was a 50-50 partner. Remember that on the CNN? Oh, yeah, we were like 50-50 partners. Yeah, it was sort of a
the gentleman's agreement or whatever.
Yeah, the gentleman's agreement. Yeah, exactly. So, when you see stuff like that, and then isn't he the one that eventually sold the company to somebody for some amount of money?
He sold it right out under Susan and Michael's noses.
Yeah.
So that was a mess.
All right, so you have stuff like that, and then all this guy has to do is bring that stuff up. I mean, it's actually, he's just going to muddy up the waters, and then the prosecution's going to spend all their time trying to to set Dan Cavanaugh free, right? But then at that point, it'll be like, wow, that guy, he really looked like he could be somebody. And then you get that, I don't know. I'm saying this all so early. There's freaking months left of this, right?
Well, like I said, I'm ready to overreact like that because I see this as they threw a grenade right off the bat.
Yeah. And I guess we kind of knew that. I think me and Ada and you, I don't remember who was in the conversation, but a few weeks back we were talking about the Denny suspect. That's why we heard that they were going to go after Dan Cavanaugh. And boy, they did it right off the get-go, man. Not a lot of time wasted there.
I wonder why the prosecution took the DNA of Bennett, Chase's brother, on December 21st.
Yeah, I wonder if they're trying to compare it to some different DNA.
DNA.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to see if they can find a way to, maybe his brother helped out.
Bring it back to the Merritts. Yeah, exactly.
Well, if there's unknown DNA, you know, and which the defense's experts or whatever found. Maybe that's why they're doing it, to see if Bennett's DNA is one of the unknown DNA.
Well, I thought that too, but then the other night in that article they talk about another informant stepping forward, trying to say that Bennett might be involved in some way.
I didn't hear that one.
It was in the article from yesterday.
This is going to be, it's incredible that 4 months they're predicting. Like, man, really?
Yeah, if it doesn't become a mistrial before then, the rate it's going.
Well, we've been waiting for this trial for so many years, and then now 2 informants have stepped forward in the last few months, pointing fingers at these different players. It's just crazy to me.
It seems suspect.
Yeah, I don't see any mistrial stuff yet. I mean, mistrial, what do you mean by mistrial? Like the jury comes back with a, or, no, that's not a mistrial, that's a hung jury. Yeah, mistrial. I mean, I just don't see anything yet where the judge goes, oh, God. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess that was an exaggeration on my part.
But I mean, I guess if they brought some stuff up that completely sort of skewed the minds of the jury, they might be able to do that. But,
right.
But 4 months, wow, that's just. I mean, what are they going to talk about? Like cell phone pings for a month? You know, I mean, it sounds like he's got great experts too. The defense. Like people that worked in cell phone tech. See, that's the whole thing. Is that what it shows you is this: is that some of this stuff is sort of not really 100% factual stuff, because you're going to have the state's witness on cell phones completely contradicting what their witness, who was also has been an expert for years, they're going to say. So then you have to ask yourself, well, if it's math and science, shouldn't there just be one correct answer and not open to interpretation? You see what I'm saying? So that's what's going to be.
Absolutely, especially with the pings.
Yeah. A ping is a ping. Why does one interpretation of a ping mean something else? It should just be literal science. Right? But they're going to obviously. Yeah. It sounds like what they thought of, I remember looking at this, was on this, I don't remember, it was this screen or the bald-headed defense guy. We have to come up with nicknames for them. But they showed a map where there was pings all over town, but they're saying that the prosecution won't mention those because it doesn't fit their story. Do you remember that part?
Oh, yeah. And also the part, tried to freeze, or I took a screenshot of the interpretation of all the pings from the defense's expert, which definitely showed that, you know, yeah, he could have been right there by the graves, or he could have been 15 miles to the east or something.
Yeah.
But also, how does the defense explain how Merritt's phones were, you know, turned off at the crucial moments and hours on those days?
Well, you don't have to explain, you know, that's the whole thing. Is it's weird when people say, why was his phone turned off then? Well, who knows, right? That's the whole thing, but it's suspicious.
Well, according to his girlfriend, he never turned his phone off.
Yeah. He never normally turns it off, you mean? Or what do you mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was turned off, you know, during those crucial days.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that that's what he turned them off on purpose. It's just one of those things where somebody else could come up with an alternative, plausible thing, you know? Like, he could say, oh, well, yeah, I don't know. I just...
Well, and then he's the unluckiest person in the world because he was pinging on the way back from Fallbrook.
Yeah, wow, yeah, it wasn't working the whole time, but then right when you felt like you were getting close to back to town, you turned it on and then it worked, but you're going to claim that it wasn't working, and then it went over a bump or something. Oh, and then it shook it back on, and it started working right near Fallbrook.
Yeah, and he was at the spot where it would have taken that exact amount of time from Fallbrook where his phone pinged at 9:30.
Yeah.
You know, if you do the map.
I should actually put the map up on the screen.
And he just happens to be, where the graves are.
And another thing I thought was not good was the prosecutors. They seemed they weren't really. He wasn't that sharp with his information. Like he said, I think it was, or, he didn't have his. I think it was the 5th. I can't remember. He'd say, and then there was another one where he said it was either this or that. I don't remember. It's like, really? I mean, you got to nail that shit down like you're an expert.
It was either the security or the tow company, something like that.
Yeah, for the truck.
Several times.
Yeah, and see, that's making me nervous. Okay, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
The weather too, remember?
Yeah, he said the 5th, and he said he thought it was the 5th, but I think it said the 6th in a bunch of places. But it did rain. Well, according to a video that Ada found a long time ago, it rained on the 5th, but we don't know for sure because I'm not sure if the video says the date on the radio, but that's when it was posted, the video. So that could have been a video from, a month before, and then they uploaded it that day.
I can go look at the weather report easily and find out.
Yeah, but I remember I purchased the weather report from that Air Force base right there. And I think it was like a little bit on the 6th, but it rained more on the 7th. But
I'll go check right now.
Up there, if it rained on the 6th, it would have... yeah, see if you can find it. It's probably in those documents on our Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
And that's right. What's the name of the Facebook page?
What happened to the McStays?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had well, by the way, people come on to my videos and say, Gray, you're so mean to Ada. I mean, I don't know how she could ever... Look at... We work all the time on this stuff, and when you're doing, we always go over, like, it's when we're doing the show, it's hard sometimes because she knows this case really well, and she's putting out all the stuff, and I gotta be able to be speaking, and then I have to go back in time. It's just the way it is. You're so mean, Gray. Right? I need to have my own sound effect just for that, don't I? Yeah. Yeah, so just, when you're doing these shows, it does get frustrating sometimes. Because you're trying to do something, and then you have people put links in that go to something completely unrelated to what you're talking about. And then sometimes the link doesn't even work. And then you bring it up on the screen, and then you forgot what you were talking about prior to the link being put on in the chat. Okay, so when you put links in there, try to make sure that it's fitting what's going on at the time. So that might even mean that you don't put it, because it might have been, we were talking about it 5 minutes before.
It sounds to me like the difference between when women communicate and a woman and a man communicate.
Yes, I say that often on my show. It's called girl code, I call it.
Absolutely.
You guys can just be like, oogla boogla. And then the other one goes, oh, yeah, that's right. Yesterday I was at the store. Wow. How did you understand that?
And we will know when something completely unrelated has everything to do with what we were just talking about.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I chatted all day with, and I do it with Darrow too. That's Darrow and Ada, and then lately, the last couple of days on this case, Gina and Ada. And it's the same damn thing. It doesn't get any different. It's like, this is Gina on the call here, Darrow, from the Nanette case too. But yeah, like, you'll be talking and you'll say something like, I mean, I can't even give you an example because I'm reading it. It just doesn't make any sense. I just read it and I'm going, how are they having this conversation right now? It's so clear in their minds. It's just this great flowing conversation, and I can't make out a word they're saying. Oh, well. There you go. That's the guy code. That's it. Yeah. So let's go to on the Rancho Cucamonga. There you go. Yeah, so Chase lived in this area right here, and amazingly, he drove all the way down here. His cell phone wasn't working from up here all the way down here or all the way up to here, and then miraculously, he turned it on right in this area. You know, because that's close enough to his house where it would be reasonable. Right next to Mira Loma. He turned it back on, and then he started talking to his girlfriend again. I'm probably really loud right now. I just realized I had never turned that down. Let's see. How about that? Is that better? Whoa, what happened?
You're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, this is the normal audio sound. Yeah, and then the music was gone because it got so loud when I tried to turn it up. Can you hear that, Gina, the music?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, so you can hear audio and things. All right. That's good. Because on Skype, you can't hear the audio, even though you're connected. It's pretty weird. I'm not sure how that works, but... So let me get back on this... this part here. Was there anything else interesting in here? On the... let's see what he's saying.
Lived a life of pretending to be Joseph for a matter of hours, maybe perhaps overnight. He doesn't know the exact time frame he spent in the house.
Says Dan Cavanaugh came back to the house and pretended he was Joseph. I mean, he did do a little bit of that, right? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
I mean, that's the thing, is he's bringing up things that are real, you know, that he can't.
They shared music in common. He was like a brother to her, best friend.
Let's see what else he's talking about.
She requested the prosecution to give her some type of protection.
So she wanted to have witness protection, she said.
All facts, all of that. You'll see that I'm not going to the public.
You know, I could imagine Dan Cavanaugh's DNA being all over the place, too, you know. That's the thing. So now we're going to have that issue.
Don't you think they checked for that?
Well, I just think it's going to be in places that they'll be able to say, well, look, he's right here. He was at... I don't know if it'll be on the grave items or anything, but I don't know. Yeah, you'd think they would have checked for all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he probably went to the house from time to time, right?
Yeah, but after 4 years, would it still be there? His DNA?
I don't know.
I mean,
How did they find any DNA there after 4 years?
right,
If
exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was painted when the new people bought the place, they took all the floorboards out.
Hey, do you want to let's get just get this out of the way. Let's get the Dan Cavanaugh. Can you find that in the Facebook group, that conversation? And then maybe
the instant message thing?
And then maybe we can read it, but you'll have to pretend to be, well, I'll read it, and you can be Joseph, because he only says like 10 words the whole time.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah. Or maybe Gina wants to do it, to be Joseph.
Yeah, Gina should be Joseph.
Well, just because she knew him. But
I was having trouble with my mute button. No, I'm good with you too.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Entertain me.
Ada might say 101, but I don't think that Joseph laughed at all during that conversation. He never said LOL. Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
I don't know if you know that story, but how we say 101 for laugh, because when Ada was reading, we were doing this conversation, and she read a letter, and the person wrote LOL, but she said 101 because it looks similar. So then now everybody types 101 for laugh in my group.
Oh, I'm thinking Highway
freaks.
101 or something.
Yeah. Well, people, or like, that's basic information. That's 101 type of stuff, you know? Like,
Right.
Math 101. So I was looking at that conversation earlier. I don't know if Ada, where she's putting it. Did she put it in the in our Facebook chat or?
I'm still, my computer is really slow right now. Still grabbing it.
Oh.
It is in the file section though, in the group. So I don't know if it's easier for me to tag you.
Are you in there already, or? You know, that was, you know, that post that was in there that, I'll bring up her name. Carol Brenna, right? I mean, me and her battled a lot, but she just passed away, you know, a couple weeks back. But she had a post in our McStay group that was really, it's actually one of sort of the better sort of thoughts. She was wondering about the electricity bill. Like during those 10 days or so after the 4th, could you look at the bill to see if there's any electricity being turned on and off inside that home and so forth?
I believe that cool. At one point Patrick was told that there was none used, that they did check that.
No, they did? Well, I thought it was a good idea. That's something that was a little outside the box thinking. I gave her a medal in there. I don't know if you can see this, but look, right there. Says Carol Brenna. It was a pretty cool little medal there. Yeah.
Oh, I bet she loved it.
Yeah.
I just sent you a link in the chat section. Can you see that?
Oh, shoot. I need it in the Facebook. Because whenever I click on that, it gets rid of the chat.
Okay. I'll go to Facebook.
If you don't mind.
She kind of sounded like she minded.
It did a little bit, didn't it? It's like, oh, well, screw. You know, I don't see it in there though, in the chat even. Weird. Unless people are just typing that fast. No, it's not even in there. Okay.
On the right-hand side, you don't see the chat?
Oh, you did it in the Zoom chat. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But I also just put it in the Facebook PM.
So, do we need to read this first part? Oh, yeah. So all this is important, I think. Okay, so this is regarding Dan Cavanaugh, everybody. All right, this is what the defense is going to be bringing up. I guarantee it. There's no way in hell this exchange is not going to make it into this trial, given what was said today. They just laid the foundation, and now they're going to build. They're actually going to try to sell a motive, and it's weird. It's almost like they're the prosecutors for some other person, the defense here. So the whole time this trial's going on, they're going to probably keep trying to sell. Oh no, it was probably somebody else, and then make him fit into that. It's going to be weird. I've never seen a trial like that actually, but.
And this was a year before.
So who's Paul? Murdered. Yeah. This is a year before they went missing. I don't know who Paul is, but it says. I think this is.
Gina probably knows.
Now, who's Paul, Gina?
Wasn't that the webmaster or the? He's with the. Whoever owns the domain.
Ah, weird.
Oh, authoritydomains.com. Support at authoritydomains.com.
Oh, I see, up there. So Joseph wrote a letter to this guy. I don't. Let's just read this part, and then there's this chat app. Are they associated though? These two things. I mean, all this writing above to the.
Yeah, he's basically telling him the situation.
Right. Okay, yeah. So it says, first of all, I want to thank you for all your efforts in keeping EIP ranked these past years, and as of recently, allowing us to pay late, reduced amounts, etc. I really do appreciate it. It's nice to know there are those out there who genuinely want to help others be successful. As you are well aware, it's been extremely difficult these past months due to I think primarily this dismal economy. Yeah, because I was right during the really shitty downturn. And we do sell a luxury item, which is the first to go when people are simply trying to survive and only buy necessities. It's so weird. To me, you know when the downturn was? It seems like it was so much way after the McStays went missing, in my mind. I'm just saying, it's so bizarre to me. So let's see. We haven't formally met. I simply pay you folks each month. These past years, I allowed Dan to deal with you since he is the SEO specialist for the site. As of recently, due to the declining sales, etc., Dan Cavanaugh and myself have been having a fallout. To give you some history, we met around 2001 when he helped me build our electronic website, and we became friends. He is extremely talented but young, so from time to time he'd need money, I'd give it to him, and he'd give me software, etc. He was just a kid, a 21 to 20-year-old back then. He didn't have a car, so I let him use a Vanagon. I wasn't using to help him out. I've been building fountains since 1998 and originally built earthinspiredproducts.com in 2000. I'm passionate about fountains. I built them and love them. It's not just the money for me. The site didn't do much till 2005 when we got together with Dan and suggested we revamp EIP from the dead and give it a go. Then, thousands of hours redesigning began, reestablishing relationships and past vendors, etc. A lot of late nights and coffee, among other things. Since then, you know, when you read that, it does sort of sound like they were kind of a team almost back then. Since then, with your help, PPC, etc., we've built it up pretty good. Yet, 2008 was tough at times and extremely difficult this past 3 months in particular. Man, that's amazing that he was actually doing pretty well in a really shitty time. I mean, imagine how he would have been doing, like, now or something, right? Or, 2 years ago. So anyways, let's see, past 3 months in particular. I'm 39 years old, have a wife and 3 kids. Dan is 28, single, no kids, very few responsibilities, and parties like a rock star. Heck, can't blame him, but the success of EIP is more critical to me than to him. I can't couch hop as he could. I have mouths to feed. I know from experience that you have to save up for the rainy day, and I did now for 4 years. Dan never did. Whether he made $3,000 or $8,000 in a month, it was gone as soon as he got it. Although I was raised by a single mom, was like a father and a mom, strong and solid with a good work ethic. Dan didn't have that luxury. It was difficult for him. Thus, it's made him who he is. Abandonment issues, lack of trust, etc. Having said all the above, Dan has become quite malicious towards me to the point of affecting my family. Please see IM string below. It's quite sad since we considered him like family, with my 2 youngest calling him Uncle Dan. I would appreciate your input and any help you could recommend. Fountains are my life. EIP feeds my family. I can't have EIP disappear off the face of the earth and end up back in a cubicle working for someone else. But if I have to, for me and my family to survive, I will. I do wish the best for Dan. I will not be malicious as he is being, and perhaps we can work through this or part ways amicably. I don't know. Either way, I wanted to give you folks a heads up on the situation. I appreciate your help. All right. So you ready? Here's the I am string right here.
Okay.
So, but this is me. So basically, anytime it says, well, in this case, it says Josep with an E after it. But that's when you say something.
Okay.
Okay. So this is Dan Cavanaugh right now. The later and Ada will be playing Joseph. So picture a more of a manly voice than when she's speaking. Okay. Okay. So the later you respond and deal with this, the worse it's gonna be. But do what you want. I don't give a F. All right. Now it's your turn.
What?
And then Dan puts a question mark in there. I'll speak with you on the phone or something. Don't IM me. Unless you want to talk about some shit. I know you prefer it done over instant message. It's cool. No worries. I'll be there when you're ready. Late. And then there was no response. And then Dan, like I said though, if you try and postpone handling this because you don't like confrontation, it won't be to your benefit. But live the dream, LOL, or 101 as Ada would say. You're dreaming. It will be about 30 days from today that your site is gone from the search engines. If you just want to ignore me. Okay.
And why is that?
Why not? You treat me like a kid. Like I'm dumb or some shit. 1, your site will be gone from the engines. 2, I will make my own fountain site. Okay, let's see, where is it? And 3, I don't need it anyways. I'm effing killing it on the other shit. Meaning like he's really doing well on his other projects he's working on. So get it out of your head that I can't do anything. Be realistic. I made an offer to let you have the site and buy me out. You fumbled that one.
Now I, Summer, and the kids know the real you and what you would potentially do to harm me and my family. You're a great guy, Dan. Effing sad.
Don't try your guilt trip shit on me, bro. You and I had a business. Do what you want, man. I wish the best for you and your fam. But don't burn fools.
Yay, right. Do you see the contradiction? You wish the best for me and my family, but have no problem destroying our livelihood? You're sick or something.
I've told you the options. You choose what's best for you. You can disregard my offer to buy me out and continue thinking your site is permanent, or you can simply do it and keep your site, and I won't do anything to harm it. I'll give you PPC access to my shit and everything, and keep your links up, not pointing to my new fountain site. And you can keep the site that isn't even that good, like you said yourself. All I did was find the backlinks guys anyways, right? Well, that's what he's saying. So I'm just saying, all I did was find the backlink guys anyways, right? You've built 6 cities, like 6 sites, like it you said yourself. Let's see, like it. Wait, you built 6 sites like it you said yourself. LOL.
You're a great guy, Dan. At least we know your true colors.
Where the hell did I go? I just scrolled down and apparently, man, there's so much crap there.
And Dan says, word.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't even find where we were.
Oh.
That's it. Word. Okay, there it is. I just looked up the word, and there it was. I should have said, Lexa, what does word mean? Don't tell me, Lexus, turn off. Okay, thank you.
The adjective weird is usually
Oh,
defined
Jesus.
as involving
Lexa,
or
turn
suggesting
off.
supernatural, unearthly, or uncanny.
Okay, thanks. All right. Jesus. My wife's laughing at me now. Thank you, Lexa. Or Alexa, whatever the hell your name is. All right.
The
Word.
noun name is usually defined
Jesus.
as a word or a combination of words by which a person, place,
I
or
swear to
thing,
God,
a
there's
body
some
or
these things.
class, or any object
Alexa,
of thought
turn
is
off.
designated.
Okay. Word. Be more legit in your future biz ops with partners, and you might go far. We had a good thing going for a while. Apparently, it's not worth salvaging, though, to you. I gave you chances. No worries. Better luck on your next one, but you won't get another me. And there's a lot of you. And there's lots of you.
Burn.
Let's say you're lazy. Smart but lazy. That's why you never built anything other than sites like mine.
What do you want, Dan?
I want to be treated fairly and more respected as a owner of the business, not simply some kid you throw a bone to once in a while.
Even if we come to a dollar amount and you were paid, given the malicious things you have written above, you would take the dollars and still do the malicious things. What's the point? There's no reasoning with you or fairness with someone like you.
Here's the deal. I'll give you a gentleman's promise. Since we're bros for years, and I don't hate you, we just had a falling out. Or as he would call it, taco stand type stuff. We're buddies. Yeah, you think I want to F with you like that? Wrong. I'll respect your site and your future with your family, and even help you with the site still with PPC SEO. I'll make authority domains confirm it, that I haven't pulled any of your links. You'll rank for years. When things bounce back, you'll do well. Or whatever you want, man. Point is... Okay. I just scrolled again, so let's see, where the hell is it? For years. Let's see. You'll rank well for years. And where's that point is? Man, this mouse thing scrolls by like 70 pages at once.
Down like three or...
Yeah, I got it. I'll honor our deal. If you buy me out, nothing malicious of any kind will be done. So that's like it's blackmail at that point. It's an offer on the table, a legit one. I don't want to see my hard sweat and tears to make the beauty flush down the toilet. It's still a sight that makes me proud for what it is. Think about it. I'll give you a day to come up with what you want to do and get back to me with a dollar amount that's fair. And we'll get past this. It was nothing. You'll get control of my PPC accounts to see what keywords people have bought with for the last 6 months. This is all bullshit. I do SEO. See, a lot of the stuff he was saying is just complete crap.
Yeah.
And access to keep buying links, even more if you want, for better keywords. It also help you in the future if you need shit done on the site, SEO, etc. You don't have to end this badly, and you don't have to buy me out all up front. You can make payments. I mean, just think about how weird this is. He's just typing away, man. Joseph hasn't said a damn thing back for a long time. You can make payments. I wish we had the time on it, like what...
Yeah,
we
like
can
every
work,
second.
Yeah, we can work something out. So you can stay afloat. But without me, the site will die. And it took 4 years to get it where it is. Don't waste all that money you spent on links and making it. Hit me up tomorrow and let me know what you decide. Sleep on it. What's the site worth to you? And your future? Because I can make more. You'd be pretty screwed Just an update. Authority domains will be available for you to call so you know you're safe. That's just such a dumb statement. Authority domains will be available for you to call. So he doesn't even know what the hell that means. Really, I'm not kidding you. When we make our deal, I'm on with them now, telling you might buy me out. So they like a domain is. Let me just tell you guys. This is what a domain is. www.intel.com. That's a domain. Okay. Right, or IBM.com or hotels.com or anything like that. And then there's all the directories below that and shit like that. So when he's sitting there saying he's on the line with all the authority domains, what has he got? Like IBM and Intel in both hands going, hey, yeah, hold on. I got him on the line. I'm telling it. Look, it's bullshit. Right? This whole thing. But it sounds to somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. When you talk about authority domains will be available for you to call so you know you're safe. And then I'm on with them now telling them you might buy me out. Yeah, really? So you're what? You got them on speed dial? They're all on a conference
like they
call?
give a shit, right?
Yeah, well, it doesn't even... it's like it that never happens. You know? It just really... What he's saying to somebody who doesn't know anything about building websites or anything, would think, oh my God, wow, he's on the line with the authority domains? Holy moly, man, this guy...
Well, I mean, I think you deal with your domain company once a year when you pay the fee, right? That's about all I've dealt with mine.
Yeah, but authority domains is sort of like when you're in SEO, there's...
Well, they've got authority.
Well, what it means, that is a term. Like we do, I have these things called authority reports where... so like you type in the word peanut butter and jelly, and then all the way down, the first that shows up, that's the highest authority domain. So like it might be, I don't know who makes food, you know, like General Foods, right? So maybe that would pop up first, generalfoods.com or something. But it's not like you're going to be on the phone ever with those people. Like you have a company that stores your domain. That's who you pay your bill, right? Like you have your domain, you do that. But an authority domain is well, I mean, that's probably boring the shit out of everybody. I'm just trying to tell you what he's saying is complete bullshit. All right.
You digress.
Yeah. When we make our deal, I'm on with them now, everybody. Telling them you might... that you might buy me out. Like, see, right there, he's assuming he's a business partner, right? But hasn't he just been an employee the whole time? That he was just being paid?
Yeah.
But even Joseph's words up there sound like they both sort of work together to build up the company. So that...
no denying that Dan worked hard to get the site where it is, and that Joseph wouldn't have been able to do that on his own. I mean, he didn't have the knowledge that Dan did, but... So,
I mean, maybe there is a little bit of truth to the gentleman sort of like, you know... I mean, I don't know if he was an owner. I mean, obviously he didn't own it.
I do believe that Joseph did send him some money after this conversation, so the buyout did happen.
Oh, really? Wow, okay.
Like a chunk of money?
Like several chunks of money in payments.
And big chunks?
Yeah, I think the last one, I have a picture of the check that he sent. I want to say it was like November, October of 2009 that said it was the final payment, and I think it was like $3,000 or $4,000.
So maybe he got like 20 grand or something over time.
I would guess something like that. And I know there was a car involved, according to MacGyver.
That was just my question. What kind of car did he give him?
He got a car, and he got whatever, maybe $15,000, something like that.
But he didn't have a truck, like the kind seen leaving the...
Oh, right. Good question. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
Somebody asked where the blue camera is. It's down in the bottom right. The blue isn't sitting there. Okay. All right. So let me keep going on this. When you make your... Let's see. Just an update. Authority domains will be available for you to call so you know your site. When we make our deal, I'm on with them now, telling them you might buy me out. So they'll have your back still. I'm giving you till tomorrow, and I'm not effing around. But as I said, I'll honor anything we agree on 100%, and you'll continue with your great rankings. I don't have time to compete against you or even do a fountain site. But I'll see, but up above he was saying, I've got my own fountain site. But all of a sudden now he forgot about the fountain site. But I'll put the PHP SEO friendly cart. See, like typing a phrase like that, you're just trying to make somebody think that you're really like, wow, you're so far above me. I'm going to have to pay you. But I'll put the PHP SEO friendly cart up in a second and point all your links to it. And in a heartbeat, if I have to, and your whack domain and 2002 site design will go to page 1,000 for every keyword. See, that part
The
makes
geekiest
sense.
threats ever, right?
Yeah, it's like he's going to make you go back to his old website, and then he'll be like, he won't rank for anything immediately. So now that you know how serious I am, and what I'm capable of, you can make a better decision how to end this. What did they tell you, LOL, or 101? Authority domains? Nah, I already know. They're going to call you back and let you know what's up. And then, that's it. And then, I guess he just sent that letter off. Never responded to any of it. All the rest of that comment.
And so, I was wondering, Gina, do you know if
Thanks, Lanky Jim.
Joseph was still paying Dan money up to, February 2010? Because there were calls coming in from Dan, like...
Yeah, that's the weird thing is like, okay, so if he supposedly bought him out, but then why were they still working together? And he was still sending him, it was little bits of money, like $50 here, $100 there. And then every month about $800 to $1,000. That seemed to be a lump sum payment for work that he was doing.
So he was still doing work.
Yeah.
I do believe he was, and I think he actually had him working on a new filtration website. I think it was called Inexon.com or something like that. They had purchased a new domain, and they were working on a water filtration website.
Huh.
And so hopefully all those calls that are coming in February, if he needs to, he can get the ping data from somewhere to show that he was in Hawaii.
Yeah, I hope so. Plus email headers, from the time that he was emailing when he was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Are we still on the air here? Oh.
I'm still here. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, I tried to type something in the chat and it didn't make it. I got like a red thing that said, I can't
They're
type
saying
in,
yes.
I can't type in my own chat. That's kind of weird.
Let me try.
I'm sure you'll be able to. I just can't. Maybe let me shut the chat down and then open up another.
Yeah, mine was working.
Let's see. Maybe Dan Cavanaugh is hacking my stream right now by calling the authority domains. Oh, wait, it's telling me to sign in. That's kind of weird. Okay, let's try it. Testing.
You totally got hacked.
Oh, there it is. Yes, I did. Like, totally. Yeah.
Dan the hacker has hacked you.
Yeah, so this is all stuff right here that they're gonna cut out parts of this. Key phrases like that sound nefarious, and then it'll be up to the. But then, how does the prosecution then come in and sort of, you have to go over the whole thing and then just sort of nuance it out, because he did say some of the things he said. It seems to me when you read it again that it's really just sort of they got in an argument. Probably, I could imagine that Joseph probably said, "Listen, man, I'm doing everything. All you really do is just do." There might have been an argument like that, and then he got his feelings hurt, And then he writes this big long thing, right? Like, hey,
Oh,
screw
and
you.
Joseph's paying him a pittance, you know, because he's worth so much more in his own opinion. And
Right. So, you know, he's
It would
definitely,
carry more weight if it was 2010,
yeah.
January 2010.
Well, but for them, it holds all the weight in the world, because this is the guy that they're going to try to say, look, this guy, and here's the thing is, see, Dan Cavanaugh has stuff like this out there, where Chase Merritt never said any stuff like this out in to anybody, typed it in or anything like that, right? That we know of anyways. Maybe there's somebody behind the scenes, but so in this case, you actually literally have Kavanaugh's writing where Merritt, he doesn't have anything like that. Let me load up their, I did make a video one time on Kavanaugh, and it has that interview with, I think it was CNN back in the day. So let me find that one.
As a side note, I just saw somebody posted human remains found in Colorado. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh god, yeah. Well, maybe that's maybe Kelsey Barrett or something. Who knows, right?
We'll check.
But thanks, everybody that just heard that, that's really into that, will take off.
Oh, sorry.
That's Ada for you, everybody. Just always thinking through it. Always thinking through it. Oh boy, we better go check out. Let's see, Gray Hughes. I don't remember the name. I think it must be in that playlist. You'd think, right?
The video that you made.
With Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Let me see. McStay. Was it in there? Yeah, there it is, right here. There he is. Look at this guy. All right.
Put the initial word out.
So this is back then, right? Like this, well, not then. Like
I put the
3 years
word
ago,
out to
2
his
years
friends
ago.
and family that he had not been communicating online or via phone, and I couldn't get a hold of Summer either.
Dan Cavanaugh, who worked with Joseph managing his company's website, contacted Patrick.
My gut instinct was not really a good one.
A very valuable business. Some say was worth more than $1 million. Something Dan Cavanaugh knew all too well. Remember him? He worked for Joseph managing the company's website.
See, this what's funny about this. This is they made this video so close to when they actually arrested Chase Merritt. Remember that? It was like just weeks prior or something. It seemed like. Isn't that right? Because I remember them like almost immediately having to kind of, because they went over Dan Cavanaugh, they went over weird things that Merritt said. But remember, he made those comments like, you could tell he really didn't like Summer at all in that interview.
He called
Or he was
and
arrested
emailed
soon
Patrick
after.
on February 9th, worried about Joseph. Yet as early as February 6th, Kavanaugh started withdrawing money from Joseph's business bank accounts.
Why are you taking money from somebody that you don't know
I remember this
is
guy.
not coming back?
Steph
unless
Watts.
you know he's not coming back.
Kavanaugh insists he had approval to access the funds, while Joseph was still missing.
I actually corresponded with his family about that, and I was like, we need a couple G's out of the PayPal account to keep this business online, or we'll lose everything.
On February 6th,
we'll do
though?
what you
Really?
gotta do.
No.
But Kavanaugh didn't stop there. By summer 2011, when Joseph was still missing, Kavanaugh had sold Joseph's business to an outside company.
They weren't really looking to give me huge amounts of money, but they were like, we'll just come in, we'll pay off whatever debts and things that the company has incurred and bring it current, and then you'll barely get paid any money.
Patrick was enraged.
Yeah, listen, we'll pay all our debts and we're going to barely pay you any money. See, when you say something like that, that means you got more than what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, thank you, Black Rose and Lanky Jen, for a couple super chats earlier.
When he found out.
He owned nothing of any part of, any share of anything.
We shared ownership from the beginning, starting the company 50-50. We basically had a little bit of a gentleman's agreement.
A little bit
Though
of
the
one.
money trail led
Little bit.
Patrick straight to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh has maintained his alibi and his innocence.
No involvement and no knowledge of who might have done it. I was in Hawaii for over a month before he disappeared.
And the evidence we
about
uncovered
after?
seems to indicate that Kavanaugh was in Hawaii around the initial days of the McStay's disappearance.
Really? Well, what evidence
You're
was
the
that?
guy.
What
Yeah,
evidence
really.
was-
So even Randy Kay had evidence.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but maybe they just saw that same itinerary that they were talking about, right?
Actually, like looking back, I think I remember the producer, getting him to send her a copy of it.
Yeah. So I actually believe Dan. I think what Dan Kavanaugh's saying, because especially when you watch the interview at his door with the. Did you ever watch that whole thing, Gina? The unedited version, the unedited version at his door.
Yeah.
Yeah, the version that they, even the cameraman was sort of pissed at the reporter at the end. It was hilarious. He was like, "Can we get
Like,
back
dude,
to
stop
talking?
trying."
Yeah, can we talk about the case? You're trying to make Kavanaugh look shitty. I mean, the thing is, Kavanaugh, he's kind of a shady sort of douchebag type, right? I mean, I'm just saying, he's just kind of got weird shit going on. But I believe his story. I don't think he had anything to do with it.
Me either.
The thing is he has these things out there that a jury, people who don't know the case, that are listening to it, they're going to listen to that and go, wow, this guy hated him. Jesus, yeah, whoa. Jesus. So he said he was in Hawaii, but there's really no proof. I mean, how do we know? And they're going to go on and on and on. I think every step in every portion of this case, they're going to go back to, like, it could be 2 months from now, they're talking about ping information. And then they're going to say, they'll bring up something about Kavanaugh or something.
So did Kavanaugh ever go to the McStay home that you know of, Gina?
Yeah, didn't he go there with
I
Chase
believe
or something?
he did with Michael.
Yeah, with Michael.
I want to say, oh gosh, all the dates are like running together in my head.
Not prior to February.
No, I think it had been a while. I think he'd been there, but I don't think it had been anytime soon, anytime recent.
Like he had been to Fallbrook, or was it maybe San Clemente?
That's a good point. I honestly don't know.
Because they were only living there since November.
I don't think a lot of people had seen the new house.
Yeah.
I know Chase had been there. I know his mother and MacGyver had been there.
But not Mike McStay.
And even Mike hadn't been there until he went for the welfare check.
And then there's that point of kind of jumping around here, but how Mike McStay said that Chase wouldn't enter the house when they went there on that.
Yeah, he wouldn't go upstairs, I think. Remember that? I thought he was in the house, but he wouldn't go upstairs.
Yeah, I remember something like that.
With the blue truck, the big. That was a joke.
Yeah.
Me and Ada argued about she was right, though. I didn't hear it right. I'll say that.
White truck.
I thought it said, "Oh, look, it's a big blue." And that was weird, Then now I can't even hear what I used to hear. It's funny how that works like that. It's like the cloud thing.
Anything ever came from the neighbor seeing the big white truck outside.
Yeah. See, that's strange, right?
And another new piece of information was that Joseph never parked in the driveway with the trooper because Summer, wouldn't be able to get the kids in because it was too tight.
Yeah. Well, they just showed that little space on today's testimony.
Yeah,
weird.
and we talked about that a lot back in the day, that there wouldn't be room.
Didn't they show that? Which part of the day did they show that? Who was showing
Oh.
It was the defense. I remember, right? Because remember he was talking about the blood dripping. Let me see if I can.
Actually, I think it was in the interview that Chase did back in.
Yeah, I'm talking about when they showed the picture of the space behind in his truck. Because they were talking about blood dripping, like how much blood there would have been.
Oh,
and then
okay,
he
yeah.
showed a picture of his vehicle. It was interesting looking at some of this. It was like, wow, they must have watched some of my videos. Oh wait, here was something that was crazy. Is they actually had plane aerial photographs from February, was it 12th? Did you hear that part, Ada? That was amazing. So you know how we had the satellite images and all that?
Yeah.
They said they actually had aerial photography of February 12th, and that's what they showed on the screen of that year. So like 8 days after they went missing. And
Is that it right there?
And they showed, well, this was the prosecutor, though, I think, that said that. Let me see if I can, which one that was in. Maybe
I missed that because the audio was so bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There was a part where I was recording that. That's not going to be that one. And they went back and started playing. Remember that? They started playing the earlier testimony.
Outside that suite.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's not this one. That's 54 minutes long, this part here.
Outside that suite at the
So maybe it's this one. Wow, that just recorded nothing for hours. This is like... Alright, well, I don't know where that is, but it was pretty amazing. They showed the satellite footage, and you can see those tracks. They're really way easier to see.
Did you see anything else? Or?
Yeah, it was. I was kind of mainly looking at the tracks because that's what he was at. It was on the screen for just a little bit, but it was pretty cool to be able to see that. Let me see. Does this have it? No. Maybe this one.
I want to say it was during the defense because they were showing that somebody that knew the area would go that other way.
I remember that
Quarry
part.
Road.
I remember that part too, but I think the prosecutor was the one that was wanting to show the muddy tracks. You know, like the deep tracks there. I don't know. I guess we'll have to go. I'm sure it's on YouTube now, the whole thing. So probably have to download that. Let me see if
Look
this...
at the facial expressions,
Not that.
their tone of...
Oh, that was garbage. Garbage.
Members of our...
Okay, this might have some of it. No, this is him. All right. Yeah, see, look how good... Here's some good images that we didn't see the first time around. Look at that right there. Look at that big hole in the back of the head there. And then this is Summer's jaw. Look how it was busted right there. I'm just trying to see if I can find any of this. Yeah, they were talking about spatter. Okay, I think that truck's coming up here pretty soon. Because they were talking about, hey, there was no spatter on any of this stuff anywhere in the house. And the murder didn't happen in the house. That's what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started talking about something about the truck. I think it's going to be on this. Oh, you goddamn you guys.
Just at this time till,
that's when they took a break, right?
Again, keep in mind
Is it this one? Oh yeah, so this is when they replayed this part. The very beginning.
Nowhere to be found.
See? A lot better. So this is...
Yeah.
They replayed this part. Now let's see if I can find that aerial photography. If he's the one that said it. Gina thinks maybe it's the other guy.
Light blue is in the courtroom. That's cute.
Yeah, the sun was right on him. That's why it's so blown out like that. I had to keep starting and stopping because it would freeze up. No, I don't see it in that. Alright, and let's switch over to this one. Nope, not gonna do that one.
outside that suite at the...
Okay, so he's talking about that, and I think early on is going to be the back of that truck. Okay, that's where the house is, right? Yeah, here we go. So this is that surveillance footage, right?
Headlights go, they will hit it for 33-inch mark.
Where was that side by side you were talking about, Gina? Was it right before this? Remember you were telling me about that?
I think it's coming.
I think it's right after. Yeah.
Okay.
Should be out of camera range. If it's his vehicle, unfortunately, the taillights are going the exact same 33-inch height. So, first thing, it does not have the parking lights that
Right there.
Merritt's truck has.
Huh. I don't see the difference. Like, what do you mean?
Look at the shape of the headlights.
Yeah, so right here.
And then the one has parking lights under and the other one doesn't.
Okay, so they did a redo of it? Like, so they put his real truck doing it, right? And this is the video. And they just wanted to see...
Like, they don't believe it's the same truck on the neighbor's video.
Right, but see, I see this little line there and that line. I see line there and there. And also, how do we know that they didn't adjust the aspect ratio? Because this happens a lot in these, even in when I do these Kanika Jenkins
That's
things.
a really good point. Yeah,
You know,
changes the whole...
Because I can
and
take...
the angle looks different.
I bet you...
Looks
here.
full screen instead of widescreen.
Well, let's try... I mean, I could actually probably take this... See, that's just one of those things that they're trying to sell it to somebody. Right? So let's see what happens if I take this. And then I'll put it back on the screen here in a second in a different... I'm going to put it in Photoshop and do something with it. Because I could see the defense doing... Oh, I've even seen prosecution do crap like that. Just really bogus crap that they have to kind of... Alright, so let's pretend that's it. And looks like it's a little bit squattier, right? Like these are taller. But you still have that little line there, which is absolutely the same. And let's see if we went... Edit, transform, scale. Something like that, right? Wow, now look at that. Jeez, that looks like the same light. You see now? See what I'm saying? Can you see that? Anybody there?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to leave for a second.
Okay, look at the comparison now. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
I mean,
they
what
look more similar now.
Like, what are you looking at? The like that's making you, like I said, you got that little line there and that light. It's a little bit more space between it.
Right, that's what I'm seeing.
But I don't really see the break. Like when you say
the lights on the right to me look more boxier. They look more like a square.
I think this one right here on the left looks like an absolute box. See that?
Looks like a rectangle box, and the one over here looks more like a square.
On the right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just change it then. Here. Like that? How about that one? Is that better?
Yeah.
Like that? Okay. Yeah, so all you have to do is change the aspect ratio up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's what they did, but and also.
Well, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah. I mean, if they're doing some weird shit where they're having people call in pretending, oh my god, he told me this, you know.
Trying to punch holes.
Yeah. So they literally got more video from the exact spot. Like, how come this line here isn't there then? This thing. Is it just not there anymore? Like, how come...
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, that's like the overhang. That's why they couldn't see the car, the full car, because it was like...
Also, the angle is different. The one on the looks like it's facing, and the other one it looks to the side.
Yeah.
Like turning.
Where the hell's the play button? Jesus. There.
All that, they said, yep, that's confirmation bias. See what you want to see and not the evidence.
You know, in court, that's probably really clear, and everybody could see it, but we
So
can't
it's
see
not his
shit.
truck in the video.
Really bad footage, you know.
And then there's zero evidence that he drove down there on the 4th. They want you to convict on, well, we don't know where he was, but that's who we want.
Wait, okay, I think this is it right here. Here we go. Here we go. Right there. Look at that. Man, I was looking at that going, man, you just iced the case for, like, I mean, look at that. Man, that's exactly where you'd put him. I didn't even know that existed like that. Look at that. Jesus.
It has no lip. It is a straight drop off. It is
So
a
what?
smooth, clean drop off. Nothing.
Could have had
catch
him
blood,
covered in
not
tarp.
going out.
That's great. That's
And
how.
the tailgate itself, when it attaches with this hinge, it sits off about a 1/4 inch. So the
Also, that thing
tailgate
just
doesn't even
folds up another box on it.
any blood coming out would drip out that back from driving around. Yet, we have no
Yeah, what if he
points
did
again.
just use a different
Anywhere
car to
looking
do
at a
it?
vehicle,
You know, that would be
while
smart
driving,
too, wouldn't it? I mean,
Anywhere on the chassis, on the
then all of a sudden it's like,
tailgate,
oh
the knee,
boy,
there's
mucky,
nothing
mucky,
anywhere.
muck.
Trust me, they look.
Or we wrap them in
This is their
tarp.
guy. So then Merritt drove to Los Angeles on the 5th to try and dispose of the bodies, as the theory would have to be. Well, we know he was in Upland at 7 a.m. because, that's what their expert's going to say. And then he drove out to L.A. in Friday morning traffic and got out to L.A. So they were alive on the morning of the 5th. He's at home driving to L.A. Then he's out in L.A. at 10:45 and 10:46. He's making 2 phone calls. One he's calling is Joseph McStay, which is important.
Alibi
He's also
calls.
calling Kathy. Because remember, they met on the 4th to talk about the job, giving Joseph updates to what he's.
What's the name of the channel that put this video out? Crime and something. What is it?
Law and Crime.
Yeah. So go on to YouTube and watch Law and Crime. You guys can catch up on the proceedings from today. Hopefully they just absolutely blew it by having their guy leave for the last part there, because I think it's really important stuff, you know.
But it wasn't their guy.
Well, then their cameraman, the pool cameraman, just bailed, you know. Yeah, that's their
so they're
guy.
gonna have
Yeah.
their own guy there tomorrow, apparently.
Oh, well, then who was he? Just some schmo that just, I'm going to, hey, I'll film for you guys today.
Maybe he worked for the court or something.
Well, nobody, the Law and Crime is the company who got rights to film it, and then everyone else is using their feed.
Yeah, didn't they say, Gina, that they'll have their own camera guy there tomorrow?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Okay, maybe.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see. Well, I think that was pretty good. Anything else you guys want to add for tonight? I mean, I'm gonna take off for a little bit. I might come back on at 9 because I'm gonna do.
No, I can't wait to see what the prosecution comes back with tomorrow.
Yeah, they're gonna have to really quickly get Cavanaugh off the menu. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He gotta just get this out, done.
Nip it in the bud.
Right.
I think if they focus on the fact, just like when I was looking at the case originally, and I definitely suspected Dan, but the fact that he was in Hawaii, the fact that Joseph continued to work with him, pay him money, start a new domain with him. I mean, those aren't the actions of somebody that
Right, that's true.
doesn't want anything more to do with that person. So
Yeah, those are good. Those are good points there, circumstantially. And and really, if you really go through that whole exchange, it just does seem like some guy he got offended, and then now he's acting like he's the shit of the world and knows how to run the site.
yeah, and he never threatened any kind of violence in any way.
No, but you could twist the wording, because in some of the cases he didn't really say what he's referring to, you could take it out of context, which I'm sure these defense attorneys did you say this or not? Yeah, I did say that, but what? That's it. That's all I want to hear. Right. That's
I wonder
how they
if
do
they'll
that.
be calling him at all.
Man, if he goes and testify, oh shit, that guy. I mean, the ratings on that sucker, that's going to be huge.
Oh my
Just
God.
think about
Yeah,
that.
I heard he was going to testify.
It would have been huge if Chris Watts' case never existed, because somehow that case is the most interesting case in the history of mankind, everybody. Every time a new email comes out, let's talk about that one.
Yeah.
Look at this one is really, this one's going to be, it's really interesting because it's, we think we know a lot of stuff, but there's probably a ton of detail. If they're talking about 4 months, there's going to be all kinds of stuff that we have no clue
This
about.
was only day one.
I know, and it. I would I would say this: in day one, the defense, if you were going to have to vote and who won the day, would be them, because they've already put some reasonable doubt in. But that's just day
I
one.
guess
That's
I do begrudgingly have to say that.
yeah. So it's sort of like a day one of a war, and this is like just a skirmish on the outside of a town, right? Right. It wasn't really much, but they did win the skirmish. All right.
Yeah, sure did.
We'll give them that. We'll give them that. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to be it for this one, but I appreciate you guys showing up. But hopefully you guys can come on often during this time. That'd be fun to just kind of go over it. How about you, Gina? I mean, it doesn't have to be every single day if you don't want to, but
No, anytime something this big happens, so.
yeah, well, every day will be something weird, I think.
Probably so.
Might have to do like an hour of something. I don't know. Cool. Yeah, but anyways, I appreciate you being willing to come back on again.
Yeah, thanks for doing the show.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you guys
Gray.
for coming on. All right, cool.
Talk later.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Done with the meeting right there, and I hope you guys learned a little bit there. It was a pretty crazy case today. I think you guys kind of got the gist of what was going on there. But what I would do is, if I was you, is go to that YouTube channel of, I think it was Law and Crime, and go check out today's videos. Skip around a little bit and watch, and you'll get the full, all the information that was put out today, and you can make your own decision on it. I think it also hurt the prosecution in terms of the public watching because of the poor audio that you kind of missed the first half. He might have put some good zingers in there that we really just didn't get to see. Okay, so that might be part of the weighing of who won the day. All right, so anyways, I want to thank Black Rose and Lanky Jen for the super chats there. And oh, looks like somebody sent me, Kyle sent me something on PayPal. Appreciate it. And let's see. I got some information on, somebody sent me an email regarding the Melissa Pesky case. So I'll check that one out. I'm going to come back on probably around 9-ish, 9:15, because there's a whole bunch of Media Monday stuff to go over, like a ton of crap. Okay. So, all right, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thank you for showing up. And hopefully you guys can come back a little bit later. You can get 2 shows in one day. All right. And Blue will be sitting there right with us. That is if he isn't in his cave. All right. So that's all I got. And until next time, everybody, be safe out there.